So here you go, guys. You may have seen this on my Instagram. You may have seen this on, I just posted this on Instagram. I've been working on this for all month long, but specifically the last few days, I've um, I've really kind of focused in and tried to work on this model, trying to get it to a point where I could, have it kind of wrapped up. So we're here with just a few days left in the holidays or before Christmas, and we finished this up. And I did take some pictures, and I've also been documenting my progress on this model this entire time. I didn't stream too often as I was painting this, as I was building this, because I could already sense that this was something that I really needed to focus on just for myself and not do this on stream because I would be just far too distracted, right? Like I would just have too many distractions as I was working. So my sense was, let's just work on this off stream, and then we could get it done. We could finish this up in a good amount of time. Nuts, like, where's the little bag from? It's from the. It's from this kit. The option parts set B multi backpack. If you look right here, it's this. I took out the boosters and put two little side bags on side, painted it brown, and yeah, it's pretty cute, right? Yeah, yeah, happy with that little addition. Yeah, so I wanted to make this as my Halloween build, and I wanted to stream it. Oh, you like it? Thanks, Not Slide. It's wild, adorable. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, it just didn't seem like it was gonna work out for me. This is really my first time painting a model like this, a 1 in 144th scale model, fully hand painted, since high school, right? So it's been a while, and then all the customization and all of that kit bashing, that's all very new to me too. I'm not very experienced in that, so just between all of those things, I didn't really have the confidence to work on this model as well as chat and everything. It's just unfortunate from that side of things, because that was originally the intent, and it just didn't work out that way. For the sake of the model, I wanted to. But anyways, I did document my process, and I figured, how about we kind of get into that? How about we get into how I was building the model, how I was painting it as we go along. It looks incredible. Thanks, Purple. So I'm gonna be able to check the chat. Yes, indeed. Let's get this full screen. And here's the some of the shots that I took. I think the first few shots are some later shots, and then we kind of get into the process. So let's just talk about how we went about making this model. Again, this is the shot that I took the other day, and that's kind of like the pose that this model will be in for, when I end up just putting it in my display case. And you'll kind of see that I settled in on this pose in general for the most part, which I'm pretty happy with. And there's the shot of the cat. This cat was originally not the initial plan. Carmi put the idea in my head that I should have some kind of pet familiar if I was gonna have a witch, and I wanted to get the Chitosarium cat, which is more of like a more realistically shaped cat, although it does look sort of like a doll-like cat. And I thought I really wanted to get that, but I just couldn't find it at any retail stores online or at the stores that I visit. So I was like, let's just cobble together some parts, and we came up with this, which I think turned out pretty nice. This in itself was like a bit of a challenge, kind of going through several iterations of parts and using parts and trying to get like a cat-shaped head. I was very committed to a certain part that I thought would look good, but then I ended up changing plans and I went with a different with this, which is essentially just a it's just a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a joint part. It's a joint part, which I thought looked very droid-like. Purple, the cat you built is perfect. It matches the witch. Thanks. Yeah, and so here we are with some progress pictures. If you look at the hips there, the extra black parts or grayish parts off to the left and right are extra parts that I added on, which will cut up the sleeves. These are the sleeves from the base kit, the Spinatia Fencer. She kind of has these like extra bits that you can give her to make it look like she has kind of like puffy sleeves or something. But I cut those up and reshaped them and put them on the hips in order to create like a fuller shape at the hips, because if you just imagine it without those grayish parts, it's very slight. It's a very slight kind of hips, and you know, I need some hips. I need some hips, man. Bacon, the Chido cat might not fit the... Yeah, you're right, you're right. It definitely wouldn't have. I would have to go in and make the cat look more cybernetic somehow. There's the hat. And this hat, most of the pieces of the hat come from the witch type accessory pack. It's funny that they have this set called the witch type accessory pack, but there's no hat. And in fact, I've seen other builders, other Japanese builders on Twitter, 30-minute missions, use this basic construction to make a witch hat for their models too. This is very interesting. The cannon part and the fin, those are from other parts. The Sengoku armor and the fin might have been from the base Spinatia, possibly. This was some work that I did to the underside of the broom to create a peg, you know, a hole, so that I could fit it onto the base. Previously, when I was making the model and just generally coming up with the shapes and everything, I kind of cobbled it together and hooked it up to to the pincer claw base thing, but that wasn't a permanent solution. So this was, yeah, I went in and cut parts and used some plot plate. Again, this is all kind of new territory for me, but I was pretty happy with just doing that much. 30-minute mission builders are a completely different breed. Yeah, that Knot Slide, like some of the stuff that people have been making with these models, like they look remarkable. They look fantastic. And yeah, this was kind of like the general sort of look of the model initially. When I think I was watching Bacon stream, just chilling, and I was like, oh, I think I might be onto something. Like this kind of general shape, I was like, oh, this could be something. The hat wasn't there just yet. This was not like attached to the base in a very secure manner, just using the pincer. The faceplate thing was then later cut into a more slighter shape. But yeah, it was at this point where I was like, oh, I might be onto something. And again, there's just some general pics of that look. Color version. And yeah, I then kind of got into making the hat. You can see this is like the first initial attempt at the hat, and it looks bad. Like it's not good, right? Like I knew that I wanted the shield part, and I know that I wanted that conical part, but it was looking really awkward. And at that point, I wasn't sure if this thing was even gonna go anywhere. I was like, uh-oh, is this actually gonna work out? This is like the weirdest shit that I put up. I thought maybe I could like have some kind of hair, an element of looking at hair, but this is all part of the process of trying to figure out. At least this is how I did it, you know, trying to decide like if this was a good direction. And I used a lot of blue tack, as you can see, because it was fast and easy, although cleaning it up was a big pain in the ass. But finally I was like, okay, this is probably the route that we're going for with the green shield, the green magical shield ring, to form the brim of the hat. Once I settled on that, I really felt like we were getting somewhere with the hat. And if you look at the top there, I put the fin on, the little fin on the back part of the hat, the tip of the hat, and that was the hat mostly settled on. Yeah. And again, up here with the peg, this peg was something that I had to add on the top of the broom so that the model could sit on securely, right? Again, this would have been a situation where had I not included this, the model would have just been sitting on the broom purely by hopes and dreams. Like it would be hanging on just by hopes and dreams. So we had to include something like that to make sure that it would fit securely. And again, this is all like cut up parts too, like to get the nub on that little seat thing, and that's the underside again, getting that hole. Yeah. And the reason why I take black and white pictures is it kind of like removes the distraction of the different colored parts, you know, that are just from different sets, and I can kind of decide how I want to color it without that kind of sort of impacting my judgment of the colors. I actually did go in and use Procreate to get some rough ideas of the colors of how I wanted this model. But I don't have those pictures here. Again, this is actually more or less the final kind of position and everything, and the finalization of all of these parts and bits. Yeah, that's more or less it. And again, black and white. Started to color it, which is, you know, nothing really that special. I hand painted it. That's an interesting strap bacon. Yeah, I think I mean, for me, it works just taking it in black and white. And again, like, you still get the sense of the values. Like, some parts could be darker, and some parts could be lighter, but you're not like clouded by like, you know, all sorts of different colors, especially if you're using like a lot of different kits, you know, that has like, you know, a red booster pack or something. That's gonna really kind of mess you up, right? And yeah, I started paint. This is all hand painted. In the future, I think what I would like to do is do as much base coating of the model with spray paint to kind of do it quickly, get a nice quick base coat of the model and the parts, and then go in with hand painting after. And the other thing is I would like to have, Ashwin looks awesome, thank you. Have the color scheme more kind of locked in, because I was changing my mind as I was painting. If you look at some of these parts, they ended up being, I ended up changing my mind on some of the colors of these parts, and I felt like it would be easier for me to make those calls as I was painting, and to look at the model and work on it while painting, rather than just working on it digitally and just being forever just like changing my mind and on digital, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's just, this is like the very simple base coat, and it's looking very flat, right? Doesn't look very impressive at that point. So previously with this like sort of side wing part, I had put in like some runner, some of the circular, I chopped up some runner and filled it up, the holes, because where you see those lighter colored parts, there were holes. And I thought that looked okay, but the more I kind of worked on it, I was like, it doesn't look that great. So I went in with plot plate for the first time and kind of chopped up the plot plate. And it's a little hard to tell, but I did bevel it as well. I kind of used my chisel knife to kind of cut things at an angle, the edges at an angle to get that beveled look, and sanded it as well. So that was all new territory for me, but I thought I kind of enjoyed it, so I'm definitely going to do more plot plating in the future. Again, this is all like everything from kit bashing to using plot plate. This is like all new territory for me. So when I say that like this project ended up being a bigger deal than I thought it would be, that's kind of part of it, like, because I'm doing all sorts of things as I'm working on it. More colored parts. If you look here, you can see that there's some orange stripes on the legs. Those are decals. I bought the Johnny Ridden Zaku third-party water slide decal set, and I actually did put many more decals on this model than what you're seeing here, but ultimately I took some of them away. That was the night where I was working hard, like all night long into the early morning. And I was like, I don't even have perspective anymore. I can't even tell if this thing looks good or not. So I'm just gonna sleep and then look at it in the morning. I looked at it in the morning and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take away some of these decals. So it wasn't that hard to take them off. But yeah, what you're seeing here with some of those orange stripes, those are actually part of a larger decal design that I actually would go in and chop up and then place on the model. So like when you talk about like kit bashing and chopping up parts of a model kit, I was even going into it and chopping up decals. Yeah, I do have some colored pics of some pictures of the final model with some funky backgrounds, but this is more of a test, so please disregard some of this. I did buy some weird decal bashing. Yeah, I bought some pumpkins. This is more of a test to figure out some interesting shots for Halloween. Although, admittedly, the model does get lost with that background. It's a little too busy. Here's a close-up of the cat. As a note, there is a bit of weathering on some parts, like the light pink parts, and on the cat as well, but not on the entirety of the model. And I'm not really fully decided on what I want to do. I might actually go back and just take away some of the majority of the weathering on the pinkish parts, or I might do more weathering on the darker purple too. I'm leaving that option open for now. I'm not really sure, but if you look really closely at the cat, you can see that its tail is like a USB-C sort of port. I kind of made it look like that. There was just some extra pieces lying around, and I thought that might be fun. This tail is bendy. I talked about it earlier, but I may have bought an extra parts pack just so I could get some rubber bendable hose. And about the face of the cat, you know, I'm very happy with it. It does have this kind of droid-like look to it, with the offset asymmetrical features. I really enjoy that part about it, and it seems like a lot of people like that too. USB-C tail, yeah, thanks, Paper Joey. And again, this is another sort of finished up shot. I think these are the pics that I took earlier today, using the photo booth, because I do have a photo booth. I don't use it too often, but I wanted to kind of make sure I took the best pics possible. So yeah, we've got the photo booth here, and yeah, pretty happy with that. It's this pose here, again, as I said, is something that I really kind of settled upon very, very early on when I had this idea in mind, and it's more or less stuck with that general pose for the entirety of this build. However, I do have some other poses that I could show you guys, and I'd like to make it do some more poses if I can a little later, because there's some other things about this model that I think are kind of interesting. So yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, this is a little video. Can I play this? Let me see. Oh yeah, I think this isn't with the rotating table. I think I have something with the rotating table. This might be the one with the photo booth, actually. It seems a lot brighter and crisp. Yeah, oh, let's see this one. Got it on the rotating table. I could go in and add more decals, especially for the broom, the Mecha broom too. I feel like that could be a thing, but I don't want to overdo it as well. But yeah, that's something that I'll think about later, because I would have to probably cut into the decals more, and even this wing shield part, I feel like it does need a little more kind of love. There are some decals on it, but not a lot. That's probably the same kind of video. Let's see, what do we got here? We don't have to play that. Yeah, and here's some different poses for the model. I'm not the best at posing, by the way. I'd like to get better at posing my models, but I was messing around with the model just to get some different poses in. But as I was kind of messing around with it and moving it around, I was kind of getting this feeling like I was kind of chipping some parts as I was moving it around, so it was kind of pissing me off. So I didn't really do too much posing. I have to kind of go in and fix some of these little flaking off parts and chips. I did spray it down with a top coat, but only once. So I might have to do that again. Oh, this is on Instagram, set to the Wii shopping channel music. the the cat. And yeah, the cat, I feel like the cat needs some decals. Needs some more decals. I think so. Maybe a bit of orange somewhere else, possibly. Sexy cat. It is posable too. The tail is posable, and you can make the cat like a long cat. Oh yeah, so here's actually the alternate mode for the broom. The part, like the very tip of the broom as you see it normally, has been folded in, and there's a part that extends out at the bottom, and it's basically like a big cannon. It can be held as a gun. Unfortunately, I only realized this today. I was like, oh shit. If I want the model to hold this cannon, I need to actually paint the hands, the alternate set of hands to hold it, and I didn't do that. So that's another thing that I have to do is paint the other set of hands. And yeah, so this is more or less how the broom looks normally. You know, this is actually it's simply two separate parts from two different model 30-minute mission accessory parts. One is like the wing pack, and the other is like a big booster pack, right? And they're normally intended to go on either the back or the legs of your model. And again, there was just that night where I was playing around with all these parts. I had built it all up, and I was just playing around with them all while watching Bacon or someone else. And I was like, oh shit, like it's Halloween. I did want to make something for Halloween. I think this could just be a broom. And it was just one of those moments where I was like, oh shit, I think we might be onto something. And I did have this, like, you can kind of pose it in different ways, right? See how it looks? Parts can fold in and into itself and fold out, right? And you can kind of get this kind of pose to have, like, just some kind of other options for yourself when you want your broom to look different. And I think this is the last picture. It's just cradling the cat, the cyber cat. So yeah, I think that's just about it. That's like kind of my journey with this model. It's been like a month-long project, and I did a lot of new stuff that I'm not really used to, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it all turned out, more or less. You know, it was and I managed to finish it on time. We've got a couple days left till Halloween, and I do need to take more pictures. And I do need to kind of tweak this model a bit. But yeah, that's kind of the idea for it. And as we get into next month, as we get into November, I don't really have a big project in mind, which isn't to say that this project is big, like a big project like working on a master grade. But I did spend a lot of time and money on it, so I'm looking to work on smaller things as we get into next month, some smaller projects. I'm also planning on doing more drawing next month as well, so yeah. Also got the pumpkin here. Very happy to have this done. And it seems like the response has been pretty good. Like, I mean, I posted some pictures of this, posted a picture of this on Instagram. As I said, I took more pictures and I'll be posting more, but the reception seems to be pretty nice, pretty good, which, you know, I'm very thankful for, very glad for. It's like, you know, I'm not doing this for money or anything. Like, this is all just for fun, and the only thing I really get out of it is like when people like it. and it's like, oh, you like that, cool. So like my time wasn't wasted. So like it wasn't all for nothing, so long as you guys kind of enjoy it too.